Well, good evening and welcome to another episode of the Successful Money Principles. And so I thank everyone that is on live with me on tonight. But for those of you that are joining and watching the recording of this, please feel free to put hashtag replay in the comments and share your thoughts on tonight's topic. And so, on this week, as promised, we are going to be wrapping up our theme for the month of April. And I know we're a couple of days into May, but I wanted to round this topic out for April's Financial Literacy Month, where we were talking about retirement and in regards to your financial literacy. And so, over the last few weeks, we've talked about quite a few different topics. And so, before I get into this week's topic, I just want to kind of do a little recap on some of the tips that I've actually been putting out this week in regards to the topics that we've talked about this month. So let me get those pulled up for you. Um, let's see here. Right. So for week number one, we talked about, understanding retirement accounts. Okay. And so if you are on the page, you've noticed that I've put out this week, again, the recap for this month, the different topics that we've been talking about. And in week one, we looked at retirement accounts. And so tip number one that I gave this week was to assess your tax situation. Because, once you assess your tax situation, that's going to give you better clarity as to what types of accounts that you are going to want to invest in, for your retirement. Okay. So you want to consider, what is your current tax rate and what do you anticipate, your tax rate being once you go into retirement. So, and I'm talking, of course, we don't know what the actual rates will be, but when I say assess your tax rate, is do you feel like you'll be, have substantially more income than you have right now? Or do you feel like once you go into retirement, then your income will be lower, therefore, causing you to be in a lower tax bracket? So you definitely want to take a look at that because that's going to make a determination on again those accounts that you choose. So you want to look at whether you want to do a pre-tax IRA, which is the traditional, or if you want to do an after-tax IRA, which is the Roth IRA. So that's something that you want to take a look at. Okay. The second tip for in regards to week number one is your investment options and fees. So again, when you're taking into account what accounts and stuff that you want to look at for retirement, you want to look at what kind of options do you have that are available to you, but also what kind of fees that you have. You don't want all of your returns and things to be eaten up by funds and stuff that you're having to pay for. So you definitely want to take that into consideration when you're looking at retirement accounts. Okay. And then one that is near and dear to my heart, I think is very, very important. And I'm talking about your employer contributions. And so if you have a company that you're working for now that is offering a match on contributions that you make to your 401k that the company has, then you definitely want to take advantage of that, whatever that percentage is, 1, 2, 3, 5%, whatever that percentage is. If at all feasible, you want to take advantage of that because that is free money. And that free money, however little that it is, it accumulates. And being consistent with your contributions and them matching it is only going to make it grow faster over the long run. So those are the three tips that I had for week one, which was looking at retirement accounts. So now let's take a look at what we have for week number two. And week number two, we talked about investing for retirement. Okay. And so when you're looking at investing for retirement, tip number one that I had for you was to diversify your retirement portfolio. What's the saying? You never want to put all your eggs in one basket. And so, you want to look at, um, again, stocks, bonds, real estate, all different types of avenues for you to diversify your portfolio so everything is not in one type of investment. So if something happens to one type, if the stock market goes down, then you have investments over in another area that will be able to sustain you in your retirement, because the worst thing to do is to get into your retirement and not have enough to be able to sustain you. Okay. And then another tip for week number two, retirement investments, is to automate your investments. Okay. So again, if if to make sure that you're consistent, to kind of help yourself to be consistent in investing for you to reach your goal, is to, automate it, put it on autopilot. So, have it where it's automatically taken out of check before you even see it. Make it where, when you get that raise in your company, that they, before you even see what that raise is going to be, bump up your contribution to your retirement. That way, again, you didn't have it before. So, take half of what you expect to get from that raise and use it to bump up your retirement, investments for yourself. Okay. And then tip number three is just to stay cognizant, stay informed of the changes and stuff that are going on in the world. Especially if you're investing in in the stock markets and things like that. Those investing in the stock market, you want to know what's going on in the economy, what type of things that are happening out there in the world that can affect the rate or the up or downturn of the stocks that you're investing in. What are the what we're heading towards, electric cars, so you don't want to go out there and invest in um all diesel when you know that there's an upturn of electric vehicles and stuff. So just want to think about that, and again, stay informed on what's going on out in the community. If you see that there's some innovations that are coming, that they're proposing to do, you may want to be able to get yourself in on the ground floor of that, if that's the next big thing that that you can invest in. So again, just remember, stay informed and make adjustments where it need be, because again, what we don't want to do is to get into retirement and to run out of money. So if we can stay informed now, make adjustments as needed now, then when we go into retirement, we'll beat and reach our goal, and we'll be able to retire ready and retire right. Okay. All right, then. And then week number three. Okay, so last week we looked at retirement income streams. Okay, and so you want to plan for multiple income streams, and those multiple income streams is going to come from your diversification of your investments. Okay, so you can have, if you got some stocks, maybe you got some dividend stocks that's producing some dividends for you. Maybe you got some real estate, so that rental property is producing some income from you, for you. You got, you're taking a contribution from your IRAs that you've invested in. And then also, if you have some pension or annuities that you've invested in, again, those are some things that you can garner, some income from. And then also, Social Security, so that's another stream of income that that could be coming in for you during retirement. Okay. And as I said before, you may want to consider investing in some annuities so that you can have some guaranteed income coming in for you. And then again, I mentioned some real estate, investing in some real estate now, so that when it comes time for your retirement, you're getting some income from that rental property and stuff that's coming in. So that's another stream of income that you may want to look at for your retirement as well. Okay, so now let's go ahead on and get into this week's topic. And this week we're talking about our retirement lifestyle and health. And so We've talked about all these different things that is going to get us in retirement, that's going to sustain us in retirement. But the driving force for, I believe, for all of those things when we're making decisions in all those areas is this week right here, what we're talking about now. And that's in our lifestyle that we want to have in retirement. But what we need to be doing now to help with our lifestyle in retirement is our health. What are we doing right now for our health? And so that's something that I am working on right now for myself, is my health. Because if we don't have good health in our retirement, that takes away from, being able to live the life that we want to in our retirement. If you're sick, if you got diabetes, you got high blood pressure, you got all these other different types of ailments that are absolutely treatable, that are absolutely preventable. If we don't take care of our health now, then in our retirement it only exacerbates and gets worse. And so one of the things that we can do now to help us in our retirement is to take care of our health. Okay. And so again, I this is something that I am taking very seriously myself, and that I am on a journey to do, to get my health under control, to take it seriously, so that when I do get into my retirement, that half of my paycheck is not going, to drugs, or to prescription medications, or devices that are needed in order for me to be able to sustain life. Because yes, we want to live a long life, but we want to live a life that is meaningful, not a life that's, that we're, sitting at home, just, living based off, medications that we're having to take, not able to do the things that we want to do because, we're not able to get around like we want to. So, that's something that all of the investments and stuff that we talked about, all of the accounts and stuff that we talked about, none of that will mean anything if we do not have our health. So that is something that you can invest in now that will pay dividends well beyond anything that any of these investments will have for you in the future. So I beg of you to please, take this seriously and do what you have to do now to ensure your health for yourself later. Okay. But on a little lighter note, lifestyle. Again, your lifestyle that you want in retirement, that plays a part in how you invest now, and the choices that you make in your investments, the type of retirement accounts and stuff you invest in. It can even play a part in the job that you take, the difference between you taking a job that has a pension and one that does not have a pension, one that has a match for the 401k and one that doesn't. Those things can be taken into account when you think about the lifestyle that you want when you're going into retirement. Because if you want to have a meaningful retirement, to be able to do the things that you want to do, you want to be able to have the income to be able to do it. And so the choices that we make now are going to lead us to be able to do that. So one of the things that I want the tip, one of the tips for this week is, again, we're looking at our health and we're taking our health seriously. But in the case that we do have some ailments that, that we can't, get rid of, but we do have some costs that will be incurred because of those things, then, take those healthcare costs into account. Okay. What are you spending now on prescriptions and stuff? So you can, put that into the budget that you'll need in your retirement. But also, excuse me, also, another thing that you want to look at when you're thinking about your budget and how much that you're going to need in your retirement is how much is healthcare going to cost for you. And so that's one of the things that I look at when I deal and work with my clients, in with them, preparing their budget and setting their goals for how for their retirements, and and their goals of where they want to get to for their retirement. We look at what are the costs for insurance. you know is if they got a company that they're working for, will they be contributing anything to their healthcare costs in their retirement. We're looking at Medicare and Medicaid plans, what the cost of those are, and how that's going to affect your retirement. So those are definitely some things that you want to take a look at, and that's definitely something that I work with my clients on. Okay, and then the next thing is you know the house that you're living in now, that 3, 4, 5,000, square foot home, when you go into retirement, is that something that you would need? And I'm not saying that that's something that you have to do, because if that's a family home that you want to sustain and that you want to keep, absolutely, by all means, do that. But we have to look at our housing and what we're, what that costs, what is that costing us in our retirement, and is it beneficial for us to downsize to alleviate some of the overhead costs, or is it feasible for us to maybe have that house paid off before we go into retirement? So that's something that goes to your lifestyle, when you go into retirement. And so then the next thing I want to talk about is how do you want to live your life? Are you going to be the one that's staying around in the city where you are? Do you want to move out into the country? um, are you going to, or do you want to jet set and travel around the world? That's what I want to be doing. I told my kids, when I go into retirement, they're going to be looking for me. They are going to be looking for me because I'm going to be gone. But again, those are decisions that need to be thought about and need to be carefully taken into account when you're coming up with your plan of action on how you're going to save and invest for your retirement. So you want to think about what are the costs that you're going to have in retirement. And again, I want to stress healthcare, because that's something that we're going to have forever. We may not have cable bills or cell phone bills or things like that, but health, we're going to have those bills regardless. And that's the amount of those costs you're going to have is going to depend on what you do now to take care of your health. But regardless of the fact, we still will have healthcare costs. you know if that's nothing but going to see your doctor to maintain your health, those are some costs. But again, we want to make sure that we take those things into an account when we're looking at what we need going into our retirement. Okay, what is the cost of those healthcare coverages, and then if we have any illnesses or anything, what is the cost of those things for us to sustain? Okay, when you're looking at your lifestyle in retirement, where do you want to live? Do you want to stay in the city? Do you want to move out to the country? Are you going to stay around in the town where you are? Or do you want to travel around the world? So again, that's something that you want to take into account when you're talking about your lifestyle in retirement. Okay. And then last but not least, I just want to talk about your focus on your wellness and your health and your wealth. That is all inclusive. Okay. It's not just one through, it's not about just um again the retirement accounts. It's not about the retirement savings. It's not just about you know um the real estate, all of those things, yes, that is going to help us in our retirement. But I want us to think whole, the whole person. What is the totality of what we want our lives to look like in retirement? What do you want to be for your family? you know are you thinking about what is the legacy that you want to leave for your family? Do you want to be the one that, again, that's out there traveling and enjoying your life and you can invite your family in to enjoy it with you? Or do you want to be that person that has to lean on your family for everything? Okay. Or do you want to be that pillar in your family that your family know that they can depend on? Okay. So what kind of legacy that you're leaving? Are you leaving something to your children and your grandchildren and your grandchildren's children? Okay. So again, that goes to the decisions that we're making in all these 4 weeks that we've done over this last month of financial literacy, taking into account the retirement accounts, looking at the different streams of income, looking at the different types of investments, and looking at our lifestyle and how we want to live it, but also taking into account our health and how we're living now is going to dictate how we live in our retirement, and beyond our retirement, what legacy are we leaving? Okay. So the things that we do now, the decisions that we make now is going to affect our family members. Okay. And it is also going to serve as, we may or may not see ourselves as a mentor, but our kids and our grandchildren are looking at us. And so the decisions that we're making and the things that we're doing, they're watching that. So what you're doing now, how you're living your life, how you're planning for your retirement, would you would your kids be proud of that? Is that how you want your legacy to be lit, to be thought of? Do you want your children and your grandchildren to talk about how their mother or their father left them, and how they took care of themselves and how they lived a long life, and they enjoyed the life to the fullness until the end? Okay. So again, I thank everyone that joined me throughout the month of April for Financial Literacy Month, and I hope that you take everything that I've given you and you take it into account, that you take it and run with it. But again, if you want to work with me in order to get these things in order, please, send me a DM, and I can set up a call so that we can discuss, how I may be able to help you further. Okay. So again, I thank you very much for joining me throughout this financial literacy month. And I look forward to seeing you in the month of May. We got some good things coming up in May because May is my birth month. May is Mother's Day month. So just look out, be on the lookout for some special things that we're going to be doing in May. And again, I appreciate you for joining me. And go back and take a look at all those videos throughout the entire month, so that you, again, can set yourself up, set up your legacy from today moving forward. So, again, I thank you and you have a good night.